Can you still see results in the gym and train for a marathon? The answer is yes, but it's a bit tricky. My name is Kyle, and today I'll be sharing my experience doing exactly this. Now, a bit of backstory. I've been weightlifting for about 4 years, and I haven't run at all in about 9 years. I've run maybe once, twice, maybe 3 times through university in the past couple of years, but it's been 9 years since I did this seriously. Now, one day, I just randomly decided that I wanted to train for a marathon, so I signed up, clicked submit, put in my little bit of details, and I was good to go. Now, I've already been through a ton of ups and downs, and I'm only halfway through my marathon training, so I've learned quite a bit and have been forced to learn quite a bit. So I'm going to be sharing my key considerations with you guys today. There's going to be 3 key considerations that you have to make sure that you consider. Fuck! There's going to be 3 things that you must consider when starting to hybrid train. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, the first key consideration is what are you going to do on each day? Now, this shouldn't be too complicated once you are aware of it, but the idea of this is to figure out when you're going to do each activity and how it will complement everything else that you have to do in your daily life. For example, I myself learned this very, very quickly. You can't do a long run and then hit legs either before or right after. It just doesn't work. You become too fatigued, your legs can't handle it, you have a bad session, either the run or the gym, and you just get frustrated and it sucks. Don't do that, it's awful. My little trick here is to consider everything else that is mandatory in your life and plan your exercise around that. For me, that was my 9 to 5. Monday through Friday, I am at work at one time and leaving at another. And I'm only in the office twice per week. So that allows me to schedule my runs after my work. So I get home, I drop everything, I change, and I run and I go. Why do I do this? Because I know the second that I sit down, I'm going right to bed. It's over, I'm done, I'm snoozing, I might eat a little bit of food and I'm out like a light. So Tuesdays, Thursdays for me, I am running after work always. But because I'm a work from home Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that allows me to have some extra time in the mornings where I can wake up, have some quick food, and get to the gym right away. That way it's done, I knock it out of the way. I don't have to worry about that anymore for the rest of the day. So that makes the week pretty simple, right? Now the weekends can be tricky, or if you choose not to complicate it, doesn't have to be complicated at all. My weekends are run. I choose 1 day for the run and 1 day for the lift. This completes a total of 3 runs weekly and 4 workouts. At least that was the plan. We'll get into that later. Since I have a longer history in the gym, I'm naturally more accustomed to programming for weightlifting specifically. That brings me to problem number 1. How the heck do I program running? I first started out with too much frequency. That was problem number 1. And problem 2, my distance was much too far for how frequently I was running. That was problem 2. And problem 3, I got shin splints really early on. Now, shin splints is something I would never wish on my worst enemy. Is it the worst thing in the world to have? No, but it is extremely inconvenient because you walk every single day and you are in pain every single step that you take. So it was at that point that I decided I needed some help. Now, coincidentally, I received an email from Strava. For those of you who don't know Strava is a social media but for exercise, specifically running, walking, and cycling. As far as I'm aware, you can do weightlifting as well, but it is mostly a social media / exercise tracking app. I've loved them and used them for years, so have many other cyclists and runners that I know, but they recently acquired a company called Runna. Now, for those of you that don't know Runna, I didn't either. They are a running-specific, running programming coaching app that will take all of your information, your height, your age, your weight, what is your big run that you're prepping for. For me, it's this October marathon, and it'll ask you for your previous times. And it does this whole calculation of how it's gonna organize and set up your running routine based on the days that you have, the time that you have, and the availability that you can run. And it'll run you through different sets of runs. So there's tempo runs, there's long runs, there's easy runs, there's interval runs. Whatever you need to do to achieve that goal and your time goal for that marathon, it has got you covered. Now, this isn't sponsored by Runna at all. I just love their programming and I want to share it with you guys if you aren't aware of what the program is. I'm a very big fan of it. I think the cost wise, it works out completely. I think I'm paying $1 to $3 per run, which all things considered, that's a win. That's awesome. Oh my God. Has this been down this whole time? I apologize. You guys did not need to see all that. Holy. Still trying to figure out this mic situation. How does it not just, oh, there it goes. Okay. I think we're good. I'm gonna lean back just a little bit, Shit. The next sacrifice, you guys are gonna have to deal with it down like that. The next sacrifice that I had to make came to my weightlifting. I was running a 5 or 6 day a week split that I was loving. I enjoyed it. Workouts were great. Pumps were fantastic. But because I didn't want to run and weight train on the same day, I had to change my split. So I changed to a 4-day upper lower split, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. All things considered, it was nice. It worked with the schedule. I ended up coming to love these upper days and kind of hitting a little bit of everything each time I was at the gym, and it turned out just fine. Until I came to my next problem. Eventually, I realized that I could not handle 2 full leg days and having the intensity of runs that I was doing. So you might be asking, how did I fix that? Well, the answer to some of you might be very simple. Switch your program. I have switched from doing a 4-day upper lower program and switched to 3 days a week full body. The reason for this is primarily because I just could not handle having that many leg days, and it's been good so far. I'm a little bit skeptical on how it's gonna run. I know people love this split. There's a couple of YouTubers and TikTokers. Wow. Now, the other reasons as to why I'm doing this 3-day split is 1, it frees up 1 day. So now there's 1 day a week where I actually don't have to do any sort of exercise if I choose not to do it. I'm sure I'll still do something light, maybe mobility, maybe some more walking, something like that. But it clears up a little bit of my schedule, which also allows me to sleep a little bit longer on those days that I'm working from home. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll still be hitting legs, just maybe not quite as hard as I used to. Speaking of recovery, that brings us to key consideration number 2, how to manage fatigue. As most of us know, managing recovery is one of the most important things that you can do as an athlete in any genre, but especially when managing 2 sets of sports that are completely different. As I slowly mentioned before, or briefly mentioned before, problem occurred for me when I realized that my running volume was getting just a little bit too high and it was a little bit too much to pair with my leg days. My performance in the gym became lackluster. I wasn't eating as much as I should to keep up with the amount of activity that I was doing. I'm losing weight, I'm getting weaker, gym sessions were not as fun, and that was an immediate sign to me that something had to change. And some of you watching might even know the solution to this problem. If you know the solution, drop it down in the comments, we'll see who rings the bell. For those of you who want to see the process just a little bit closer, get some behind the scenes and a slice into my life, check out my Instagram here or check the link down below. Cheers! And finally, key consideration number 3. Nutrition and sleep. The holy grail of hybrid training, sleep and nutrition equals recovery and performance. Stay with me now, y'all. Sleep and, I'm kidding, you don't have to do that. When it comes to the topic of sleep, how many hours do we need for rest, recovery, and performance? If you know the answer, let me know down below. If not, I'll tell you. 7 to 9 hours is usually recommended. However, some people have been known to need more, and some people can function just fine on less. However, most of us need between the hours of 7 to 9. Myself, if I can get 9, that is a fantastic day for me. I'm loving it. I'm averaging about 5 to 7 right now. It really depends. It's not ideal, I'll tell you guys that much. But on the other hand, we have nutrition. And as I stated earlier, I was not eating the amount of food that I needed to maintain the same weight for my runs. I've just lost my screen, hold on. Not only will you have to eat more to prevent rapidly losing weight, but your body also needs not only protein, but other key nutrients to help sustain itself, especially when doing endurance exercise. That brings us to electrolytes, micronutrients. Of course, your macronutrients are always going to be important, but specifically your electrolytes and nutrient timing. A small side note is your water consumption. Speaking of, let me take a quick swig. Now, water becomes super important, especially when doing endurance exercise. If you aren't drinking enough water already, definitely start doing so. But especially if you're looking into doing endurance exercise, consume way more water than you think you need. In terms of when and how to eat certain foods and at what time, before exercise, after exercise, to keep it simple, I like to have a mostly carb and protein dominant meal about 60 to 90 minutes before my activity of choice. And if possible, leading up to the activity, consume some smaller, faster acting carbs, give your body quick energy so you're ready to go. Also, you might want to have a little bit of carbs during your workouts if your endurance exercise exceeds about 60 minutes. It is ideal to have anywhere from 30 to 60 grams of carbs after that 60-minute mark of activity and for every hour after that. Personally, I like to have my fat everywhere else, not right around my workout bubble. Fat is slower digesting, and because of that, we want to focus all of our fat consumption not around our workouts. We want to have carbs and protein before, carbs and protein after. Everywhere else in the day, feel free to have your fats, your avocados, your nuts, your seeds, animal meat, whatever it is, consume around, if possible. It's not the end of the world if you don't, obviously, but that's just ideal. So those are my 3 key considerations for what to do when you start hybrid training, specifically weightlifting and endurance exercise, marathon training specifically. If you guys did happen to enjoy, please drop a like down on this video. And if you want to see more content like this, definitely drop a subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.